Welcome to the channel, I am Meki, and today we'll be reviewing a game called Wavetale. I just want to say a quick intro and thank Thunderful and also Keymailer for providing keys to this game, both on the PS5 and also PC version. So that's what I've been playing. The initial playthrough is actually on PlayStation, and then later parts are on PC, and the game I've had for about a month. But it's been under embargo, but it will be out on the 12th of December. Once we boot up the game, you can see once you jump into a new game, you're introduced to some lore.
They say that the ocean is big. I wouldn't know. For me, it's always ended at the horizon, where the water meets the fog. I wish I could see what
They tell you about the ocean, and that this game really focuses a lot on that. There is a lot of exploration.
Grandma says that this is our haven, that the lighthouse keeps us safe. But a part of me wants more.
And
It's hard to
initially,
imagine this was
all we
something
know
the
is
world
that
wants. That you could open your door, step outside, and just
we
walk
live by
wherever
the sea
you
with our
wanted to go.
grandmother.
But that was before the fog, before the city sank.
Somehow the entire world is covered in water.
Everything away from us. We still have a spectacular sunrise, though. I guess the paws couldn't find a way to deprive us of that.
We've got to unravel how we got to this point, why the world looks like this, and what we can do to stop a blight, for lack of a better word, as you'll see later on.
A leaking capacitor and some. They said you'd know.
It's broken again? How does she manage? In my day, we knew how to care for our things.
All right, Sigrid. There's some crab in the basket, too.
Hello, Mr. Bane.
Don't you have somewhere to be, Bane? We have work to do.
Should be on my way. Fog's closing in. By the way, Doris, have you, talked to anyone lately?
I never talk to anyone now, do I?
They say the dirty paws have been seen by the plaza. I haven't spotted them myself, but
Is this your idea of a joke?
wish it was. Just be careful, will you?
I could look after myself before you were even born, Bane. Now scram! The air seems absolutely saturated with gloom. We need more sparks if we plan to hold that fog back.
I'm on it.
Remember, no fiddling with your hands. Only use the net,
Or they will burn my hands just as they always did Grandpa's. It's not my first time, Granny.
You can't live on old marriage, Shrimpy. I tell you that. Now what are you waiting for?
And here we get a tutorial of what the controls are within the game, what traversal is like, you know, kind of outlines what we're going to do throughout the game. You can see it's a fairly simple, you know, we've got a jump, we've got an attack,
That should lead the power
there's a lot of capturing enemies to get energy, the energy gets stored in a battery and then we use that later on. So this opening area is just really simple and straightforward, just to give you an easy way into the game. There are things like journals to find, and the journals give you more insight into things that are happening in the world or why the world is the way it is. There are lots to find, and it kind of gives you information in this scrapbook, and the design of that is great. Now we've learned some basic controls, we're about to see the inciting incident that's going to take us from this very small island to a vast, vast ocean. We see the shadowy figure. We don't know much about them at this point in time, but we're going to learn more and more as the game goes on. and we've woken up away from our island, so we're no longer where we were. We don't know quite how we got here, we just know that we're not where we were. And we're about to meet a very helpful friend, I'll say. And we're being welcomed on board to join with them, to connect with them, travel with them. Now, what I would say, this is where I really started to see the charm of this game and the potential for where it can go and where it does go. Just expand. And how much fun it is to walk on water and glide along and speed along as we're about to. Once we're past learning how to sail on water and deal with a few things, the wider world starts opening up for us. What you get here is a lot of quests, a lot of helping people. I don't want to say too much because I don't want it to necessarily spoil the story, but it's quite interesting how you can help people, lots of different places for you to go and see different people and meet new characters who might need something from you or help. Also, there are some fun things like being able to dive from way high up and then just go straight into the sea. You and Grandma go on a trip and see the world and are able to expand what they can do to help people and what's next. Again, you can see that different areas of the map are blocked out by the blight, these billowy, smoky things. There are interesting characters that you meet, as I mentioned before, but there's also interesting, I'm going to say enemies, but maybe that's the wrong word. And again, more will be clear once you play the game and you have an understanding of what you're doing to help people. And my final thoughts. Wavetale, honestly, is a game that's really impressed me. I was surprised about how captivating the world is. I really love the water effect. I love the traversal. The traversal's a lot of fun. There's a lot to do. There's races, there's places to discover, people to help, as I mentioned before, without saying far too much about the story. And it's expansive. There are some customizable options, like you can change how you're dressed and certain other things, and those are all bought via a shop. That you actually find floating around, which again is quite cool. I will say it reminded me a lot of Breath of the Wild, excuse me. Reminded me a lot of Wind Waker, at least initially. Then after that initial thought, you know, I saw kind of what it does for its own world. I would say so far the combat has been relatively simple, nothing too complex. You know, it's rare that I find myself dying, and if I do, it's normally because I was a bit greedy or allowed myself to be surrounded by enemies and things like that, or didn't pay attention to where I could or couldn't go. Overall, Wavetale is a fantastic experience. I think it's well worth your time. Like I said, it's available on consoles, it's also available on Steam. I'm fortunate enough to have both. I would say there aren't necessarily major differences between the two. As long as you've got a PC that is capable of running it well, then you'll be fine. Otherwise, you know, the console version is perfectly good and fun. it looks as good. PlayStation 5 version looks fantastic. It looks as good as it did on the PC for me. So, like I say, happy to share that. And what I would say is, even if I wasn't given a key for this, I think it definitely would have piqued my interest. And that's it. So yeah, go pick it up. It's available on the 12th of December, and I'll put some links below. Thank you.